presentation of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Sun.
Last night, 5 Rays pitchers combined for a 4-hit shutout over Baltimore. And the offense delivered a 7-run output, taking the first game of the series. Tonight, Chris Archer goes to the hill, looking to end his 2017 campaign on a high note. We welcome you to Tropicana Field, where tonight the Rays and the Baltimore Orioles meet in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Victory last night for the Rays, 7-0, puts them up 9-8 in the season series against the Orioles. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Alex Cordry along a bit later. Well, the Rays have had overall disappointing season as they look at a number of other clubs headed to the postseason. These two teams are not. It has been, however, a big home run year for this team collectively, and they've been led by Logan Morrison, who has had a career year in that department.
I'll tell you what, Logan Morrison, as far as the power goes, you're absolutely right, a career year. His previous career high was 23. That was back in 2011. Well, he blew by that number in the middle of July and just continued to add on with 38 home runs now on the season with 2 games to play. He only had 3 multi-home run games, so he did a great job of spreading them out. 35 different ball games he homered in. That was about 1 of every 4 games that he played. So he was a consistent threat all season long and continues to swing the bat well. It'd be great to see him get to 40 before this campaign is over.
Well, you see right there, Carlos Pena with the single season club record with 46. He holds the top 2 spots, 39, and then Logan Morrison third with 38. Evan Longoria fourth with 36. He belted his 20th home run of the year last night. And for more on that when we return, Alex Cordry. There's a shot back into deep left toward the corner. Does it have enough? Gone! Home run for Longoria, and that is number 20.
The Rays are looking to end their season on a high note, and their captain, Evan Longoria, is helping them do just that. One of his teammates, Brad Miller, called him the model of consistency, and that's because Evan Longoria blasted his 20th home run of the season last night, and it's why he's featured for tonight's Toyota Inside Look. We'll take a look here on Friday night after hitting his 20th home run. It's now his 5th consecutive season with at least 20 homers and 9th in his first 10 seasons in the majors. Only one other third baseman has ever accomplished this feat, Hall of Famer Eddie Matthews. It's clear what Longoria means to the Rays.
I felt like I left a lot out there this year, so to be able to get there, it's satisfying to hear that, but I'm a little disappointed as well.
He battles, and I don't think he's felt great at the plate all year long, but to be able to put the numbers he has up, it's been pretty impressive. It just goes to show you that he's he's a baseball player. I don't know how else to describe him. It doesn't matter what's hurting, what's ailing, he's going to play.
Longoria is out of the lineup today, but the versatile Daniel Robertson will pick up a start at the hot corner. First pitch of game 161 is coming your way next on Fox Sports Sun when we return after this quick out.
Get up and get noisy. I want to meet.
Back at Tropicana Field, the Rays sending Chris Archer to the mound, making his 34th start of the year tonight. And he will square off against the Baltimore Orioles. Rays winners over the Orioles last night, 7-0. Then we'll take a look at the starting lineup for Baltimore, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Jonathan Schoop's going to lead off, play second base, followed by Trey Mancini, and then Manny Machado. The cleanup man, the DH Pedro Alvarez. Chris Davis is at first. J.J. Hardy gets the start at shortstop. Chance Sisco will catch and bat seventh in front of the center fielder Austin Hayes. Anthony Santander is in right field batting ninth.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, it'll be Chris Archer for the 34th time this season. He's looking for that 10th win to get into double digits. ERA 4.18. Wants 4 innings too to get to that magic number of 200, currently sitting at 196.
And then steps Jonathan Schoop. Schoop overall a very good year this year for Baltimore, but like a lot of these Orioles, the final month of the season has not been kind. And Schoop pops it up, right side foul ball. Morrison near the stands, and he runs out of room. So that's a pop foul for strike one. Schoop with 105 runs batted in, 6th in the league in that department, but only 5 of those in September.
Yeah, if you look at their big boppers up and down this lineup, not really much of anybody doing anything as far as the production goes. A couple of guys with some decent averages, but when you look at the home runs and the RBIs, everybody way down, and that's what's led to this horrible September for Baltimore.
Well, the Rays have scrambled for runs in September, but not as badly as the Orioles. They've scored just 80 runs in September. High pop foul, and Ramos is there from his catching position to take care of that for the first out.
Well, and when you put that into perspective, you look at the number of runs that the Rays have scored, and it seems like the offense has really struggled for them, and yet they're way up on what Baltimore's been able to do.
Yeah, 80 runs for the entire month for Baltimore. That seems impossible with all those big boppers in their lineup and playing in their home ballpark. Here's Trey Mancini, the rookie. He has a 17-game hitting streak through all of this. No ball, no strikes.
Yeah, just over 3 runs a game, and they've hit about 1 home run per game. Big difference from what they did in August.
And that will be a strike. Pitch in, and it's 1-1. Now 232 home runs for the Orioles. You know, they were right there at the top, 1 or 2 in home runs. They're 4th now, but they're not hitting home runs with men in scoring position.
Or, yeah, or even men on base.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of solo shots. Those are tough to add up.
You know, they went from August, where they hit 306 as a team with 57 home runs.
Wow. In
the month of August. They've scored 80 runs total in September.
Yeah, and the home runs down by more than half. You know, September's the month. You know, it's a long season, and September is clinch month. That is when you have made your move into August and set yourself up to close the deal in September. And poor Septembers from your big guns usually means you're not going to end up playing any deeper into October than the 1st.
So full count on Mancini with 1 out, bases empty. And that pitch just missed for ball 4. Mancini heads to first.
Let's take a look at the Rays defense while we have a second here. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. And in that outfield left to right, we're going to have Dickerson, Kiermaier back out there, and Malik Smith across the infield third to first. Robertson, Echeverria, Miller, and Morrison. Wilson Ramos will be behind the dish.
Now Manny Machado He's hitting .260 with 33 home runs. The first pitch is a strike on the outside corner. 95 runs batted in for Machado, but again, only 7 in September.
Yeah, I mean, it's really been across the board. You know, if you've got 5, 6, 7 guys in your lineup that are potentially dangerous, you can afford 1 or 2 guys to be down a little bit, but it's everybody.
Yeah, it's been a complete blackout, it seems, for the Baltimore power and run production. Down to third, comes up on Robertson, recovers and makes the throw to first. Mancini moves into second. So the Rays get the out at first, but Mancini now is in scoring position with 2 outs.
You know, if Daniel Robertson is able to glove that clean, you got a chance there for an inning-ending double play, but that ball took a high bounce up into his midsection and wasn't able to do that. So you take the out at first, and now Chris Archer's got to make some pitches here with the runner in scoring position.
Well, the jackpot brought to you by the Florida Lottery. Well, you see Pedro Alvarez in his career against Archer is quite good. 6 of 15 with 2 homers and 3 doubles. He swings and misses the slider, strike 1. Alvarez spent the year in AAA. It was a September 1st recall by Baltimore. He had .239 at Norfolk. And now a strike. 0-2. This one is down. Well, Archer tried to get through the first inning. It has, from time to time, been an issue for him. The first inning this year, his ERA is .562 in the first inning.
Yeah, I mean, that's the inning where he's given up his most hits, runs, earned runs, home runs.
And he takes care of Alvarez and gets through this one scoreless. No runs with a man left on base. Kevin Kiermaier will open the bottom of the first for the Rays when we return. For the Rays tonight against Baltimore, let's take a look at the Rays starting lineup. Presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Kiermaier, then Lucas Duda, the DH. And Wilson Ramos will hit third. Cleanup man is Logan Morrison in front of Corey Dickerson. The Danny Echeverria, the shortstop. Brad Miller, Daniel Robertson, and Malik Smith, 7, 8, and 9.
Well, maybe some foreshadowing here for the Baltimore Oriole future when you see Miguel Castro taking the mound tonight as the starter. He's appeared in 38 games this season. Pretty good numbers all around. Not a lot of strikeouts for as good a stuff that he does have. But we've seen him in the past, 6 feet 7 inches tall, got tremendous stuff, and they may be looking to transition him into a starting role.
He's an intriguing talent, that's for sure. That first pitch fastball way wide. So he makes his first big league start. Here he has big league time with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Colorado Rockies. And the count is 1-1. Rays have seen him before a couple of times this year out of the bullpen. And a very, very good arm. Two and one. He has made 35 career starts in the minor leagues, but you see they're still just 22 years old. It's lifted to the left side into foul territory, and that's caught by Machado.
Let's take a look at the rest of that Baltimore defense, brought to you by our good friends at Golden Diamond Source. And in the outfield, left to right, Trey Mancini, Austin Hayes, and Anthony Santander. And across the infield, third to first, Machado, Hardy, Scope, and Davis, with Chance Cisco behind the plate.
Here's Lucas Duda. Carries with him 30 home runs this year. 13 with the Rays, 17 with the Mets over in the National League. Pitch is a strike. Castro can get pretty good run on that fastball.
Good velocity.
It's popped up, foul ball. Cisco's after it, and it's going to be out of play. 3-4 rows behind the dugout.
Well, you think about this. Just think of the physics of it. You know, you've got a guy out there that is tall, lanky, 6'7", with very good arm whip. Well, you get good arm whip and good hand speed, and that ball is going to run out of there, especially if you go two-seamer. But even the four-seamer is a tough pitch for him to keep straight, unless you're really burrowing this thing across the strike zone.
1-2. But I think the Orioles feel, and you see him pitch a couple times, and you can't help but feel this way. There's a lot there. If they can get him to harness that, they think he could be something special.
Well, I mean, at 22 with his stuff, and he already has time in. I mean, there is a lot to like about the possibilities going forward. It's not like this guy's a reclamation project at 26, 27. I mean, he's still a baby. He's had an outing earlier this season, back in early August, where he did go 6 innings in relief. 6 very good innings, by the way.
And he did it very effectively.
Yes.
Limited pitch count.
Limited pitch count, 69 pitches. Gave up just 1 hit, 1 walk. That was against the Tigers. That was on August the 3rd. So you wonder ultimately how many innings or how many pitches he'll be allowed here tonight. They're not going to overextend him.
And there is strike 3 called. So Duda caught looking. First strikeout for Castro. And the second out of the inning.
Boy, just a slider there that stayed up and also got in on Duda. And right there, you're just hoping that that ball's called off the plate in, and it was not.
Now Wilson Ramos hitting third. Chops it to third base. Machado throws a strike across the diamond. A 1-2-3. Bottom of the first, and we head into the second. No score. Rays Baseball on Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by your local Ford dealer and by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Rays and the Orioles in the final series of the year. Chris Archer against Miguel Castro, the matchup. And Chris Davis about to step in for Baltimore. Davis 26 home runs this year, takes a first pitch strike.
Yeah, numbers for Chris Davis and the standard that he has set down across the board in the average home run department and the runs driven in.
38 home runs a year ago. It's a strike on the outside corner, a fastball. Bill Welke calling the balls and strikes. Both these pitchers would like that pitch on the corner out there to get that as a strike. Now down and in.
But just shave it, like a cheese, Dwayne. Just a little bit off the edge.
That's all you need
all night.
That's all you need in theory. That ball catches any part of that zone. That's a strike.
I like it. I like the way you think.
Moves things along, that's for sure.
Puts everybody on notice.
And there's strike 3 called. He's looking at a fastball right there.
Boy, not the best AB of the season for Chris Davis, and he just got locked up. Maybe looking for that slider and selling out for it, because this is a fastball. That's where Chris Davis likes it, down and out over, just above the knees. He'd like to take another crack at that one.
Have a couple strikeouts early for Archer. We get 245 on the year. Here's J.J. Hardy. Pitch is a strike. Archer pitched against the Orioles on the 24th. That was Sunday in Baltimore and lost 9-4. He's had a difficult time with the Orioles. 4-8 in his career with a .508 earned run average against them.
Well, he may be catching them as he looks to close out his season at the right time. As you talked about earlier, the number of runs really not scored in the month of September. And seemingly, a team that the Rays shut out last night. And that was after, Jake Odorizzi got off to a great start. Unfortunately, had to come out of that game after 4 innings, but the bullpen went out and threw 5 shutout.
Up the right field side. Smith after it in a hurry, but no chance. Well out of play. Well, it's been a tough September for Baltimore, and likewise the Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Chris Coors Light. A difficult month for Chris Archer as well. 0-5 with a .972 in September.
Yeah, and this is a team that was on the cusp of the playoff race, and you want your opening day starter to come up big for you. And you saw the numbers; they speak for themselves. 5 starts, 5 losses, an ERA of almost 10. And if you do take out that start against the White Sox, where he had to come out after just facing 2 hitters, in 4 starts, only 16 2/3 innings. So he's averaging just over 4 starts for all the other, or 4 innings per start for all the other starts in the month. So
this ball driven deep into left center field. Dickerson will watch it bound off the wall. He'll play the carom. It's a double for Hardy. And on a 1-2 pitch, Hardy doubles back toward left center field.
The same mistake that Chris Archer made against Hardy in Baltimore in his last start, he did again right there. The slider with 2 strikes. J.J. Hardy hit a full count slider, a hanger, for a 2-run homer that took the game from 4-4 to 6-4 in Baltimore. And there you get a 1-2 hanger, and you're just doing J.J. Hardy a favor at that point. His bat has slowed down a little bit, and he's one of those guys that is primed for a good elevated heater. And instead he gets the slower stuff, and it stays out over the plate, and he capitalizes.
Cisco. Pitch is down.
This is why you'd ultimately like for Chris Archer, whether it's a circle change, a 3-finger change, a split change, whatever it is, to have another option. We saw what that has done for Luis Severino up in New York.
Yep. 1-1. Yeah, it's one thing to throw hard, another thing to get a couple other pitches in the mix. Of course, the slider's been a big pitch for him, but you can't always live on that. It's not going to be perfect every time.
Ultimately, you become a bullpen guy who's trying to go 7 innings a night.
Tough for anybody to do that.
Yes, it is, because I guarantee you there's not a hitter in the league that goes up there even remotely thinking about Chris Archer's changeup. Yep. They are focused on the fastball, the slider, a 2-pitch guy to get deep into tons of games. It's actually a credit he's been able to do it as often as he does, because that's not easy.
Yep. He battles out there, but you're right. You have only so much artillery you're going to use. You need another piece, an artillery piece or 2. And there's a strikeout of Cisco. 3rd strikeout for Archer. 2nd out of the inning.
A good slider here. Tight and late. And see that ball a strike all the way until the very end. That's the ideal way that you want to use that pitch. It appears to be a strike. It appears to be a strike. You start your swing, and it starts its move out of the zone.
There's Austin Hayes. And a strike on the outside corner. We saw Bill Welke in a game against Kansas City, and I think Blake Snell started that game. And he would give the corners. So we'll see. We've seen that a couple times already in this game. So these pitchers can tune in on that and use that to their advantage. He's consistent that way.
That's all he asked for.
There's a cut to miss. Hayes out on strikes. So 3 strikeouts in the inning. We'll be chatting with Eric Neander when we return. Second inning, no scored. We're happy to have Eric Neander join us, the executive VP of baseball ops and the general manager. And I guess this is next to the last day of the regular season. Eric, a good time for an assessment, maybe a State of the Union, huh?
Perfect time. Not where we were hoping to be. I think from the last time that we connected in Houston and talked some to now is not the way that we wanted to go, not the way we saw it going, but it's the reality of where we are. And there's disappointment, and we'll take some time, a little bit of time after the season here to refresh and recharge. But we got to get right back at it and figure out how to get over the hump here.
Yeah, you know, I remember our conversation. We talked about this guy, Logan Morrison, and I mean, who knew? You figured you're going to get power from him, and of course he's had a great power year. So there are surprises sometimes in this game. It's not an exact science. Overall, the club has had power. On-base percentage has been an issue. So is that topic 1 or 2 when you get together and try to figure out the next step?
Yeah, I think so. We spent a lot of time last winter and even early this year when we were putting up runs, you know, the talking point, the diversity of the group, that, you know, the additions of guys like Malix, you know, to add some athleticism. You know, we added, you know, some guys that can put the bat in the ball, do some different things, just tried to, you know, to round out the club in different ways. And early on, the run scoring was there. We were feeling really good about ourselves. But, you know, as the year went on, you know, the strikeouts, you know, continued to climb as we went along. We weren't able to manufacture runs and put rallies together the way we wanted to, and a lot of balls seemed to find the base of the wall and didn't get over the wall. And it's a fine line when you have, I think, the overall profile of the team we do between having a first half like we did and a second half like we did.
Is this something that when you go into the offseason, is there a focus? Because it seemed to be that situational hitting was an area that this team really struggled with, not only, you know, coming through in those situations, but also even creating those situations. So is this be something that becomes a focal point and almost maybe you tweak the philosophy a little bit?
Yeah, like to think so. You know, easier said than done, and you know, you hope that, you know, when you get to 2 strikes, you know, that the approach has changed, that just across the board. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, we want to try to do anything we can to beat a team by 1, and you know, being able to do that on any given night in different ways is, I think, an important part of being able to accomplish that, where it's not just relying on one certain way to beat an opponent, but to try to do it a lot of different ways. And I don't think that's something that we've. There we go.
Hey, there's an 0-2 base hit to the opposite field by Corey Dickerson.
There you go. You know, I think it's something that we're, you know, actively aware of, and you know, you try to make it happen, but not always do the opportunities present themselves to put a team together that way.
Now let me ask you this, because this is what the 10th year in a row that Major League Baseball has set a record for strikeouts, and because it's been so devalued, and I know that you watch the same games that we do, but you hope that there's, with 2 strikes, a little bit of a different approach, just like Corey Dickerson did right there. But more time, I mean, not more times than not, most of the time, you don't see that. You see the same swing in a 3-1 count that you'll see in a 1-2 count. There's no cutting down, and it almost seems that is as if.
Now there's the first pitch swinging by Echeverria off the bottom of the left field wall. Dickerson's going to go to third, and Echeverria's in at second with a stand-up double, and of course that's going to be a topic of conversation as well. But let's talk about the 2-strike approach here.
What I was going to say was, because you don't ever see that difference made. I mean, really, it's a rarity to see a guy cut down with 2 strikes, use the middle field, go the other way. It becomes something that's never worked upon. So then all of a sudden, when you get those runners, and you know they don't even know how to do that because they've never done it.
Yeah, I think globally, as an industry, in the way I think it's evolved from the selection of players to, you know, what's prioritized, et cetera. I think, you know, offensively, the strikeout, I think, has been more and more accepted if there's a belief that there's a trade-off for it, you know, in some way, shape, or form. And on the flip side, on the pitching side, you know, you're seeing more velocity. You're seeing things You're seeing guys lean on breaking balls more. You're seeing things on the pitching side that I think are also conducive to more strikeouts and make it harder. So you're having things on both sides that are kind of coming together, and well, maybe the result is what we're seeing. So how to combat it? How to, you know, the arms are seeing, you know, guys are throwing harder and harder and harder, and they're mixing their pitches more and more and more. And it's, yeah, I don't know, as we evolve as an industry and how we put rosters together moving forward, some of those things you got to really think about.
That will be the next, you know, the next step, I guess, is how in the world do you combat that? Because we've remarked on that over and over again. I think that there's no question that the stuff in the game today is the best it's ever been. Now, you can make an argument that pitchability maybe not so much, because a lot of these guys haven't had to learn how to pitch because they just overpower you. But yeah, what's that next step in trying to combat it? Because it seems now that all of the information is out there for everybody, and now you've got to stay one step ahead, and that's where I'm sure the challenge comes for you and causes you sleepless nights.
Davis comes to the plate with the throw, and out there, Dickerson cut down on the ground ball by Miller. That'll be the second out, and the Rays will have men at first and third. Do you think, when you put together a club now and you look at the home field, this ballpark is more dissimilar in the American League East than all the other ballparks? So you can take, and even this Baltimore club has struggled, as we've talked about early already, offensively. But they can load up because of the nature of their park. I think it's a little more nuanced for the Rays front office to try to figure out what is the proper balance and nuance for this park, because it's so different than the other parks.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the topics, they seem to be cyclical. You know, these are things that I remember having a lot of, you know, us collectively as a staff having a lot of debate about 5, 6, 7 years ago. And you think you kind of figure out how to solve it. You play 81 games in a park like this, and you play 81 in other places, and a lot of those games in our division in the parks that you referenced, and how to make the most of all that. You know, the team here, you're talking about big gaps. You're talking about, you know, to get a ball out of here, unless it's down the lines, you gotta catch it pretty good, and you need guys to chase them down when they stay in place. So, yeah, that's something to say nothing of the surface. And when balls do get down, they scoot pretty good. So, yeah, it's an active topic, one of many that, you know, it seems like each year there's a few of them that really come to the surface again. You spend a lot of time talking about, and then it's a few the next year, and then they come back around again. But yeah, our crystal ball's got to get better.
Well, you know what? How about this? You got to?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, we've been talking an awful lot about how we haven't scored a whole lot of runs and a lot of the negative stuff. But what about, you know, as far as the positive goes? You made those changes to the bullpen at the deadline. Seemed to have knocked it out of the park with that one.
Yeah, I think, you know, as a staff, and just kind of reflecting upon a lot of the decisions we've made over the last 12 months, really, you know, trying to shape the team for this year. There's a lot in hindsight that we're really happy with the outcome, and there's some, you know, less so the case. And one of those that we've been really pleased with has been, you know, the bullpen and how things came together, you know, after the deadline there. So,
Robertson out on strikes. We're out of time. You know, we need to sit down and do about 35, 45, maybe an hour here chat on this, because there's lots of ways to go with this. We appreciate you coming in and spending your time with us here in this short period.
Absolutely, and thanks to our fans for their support.
Eric Neander with us. We are through 2. We have no score. The second inning did not score. We head into the third, the Rays and the Orioles, with Chris Archer opposing Miguel Castro. Rays left 2 men on in the bottom of the second. And for Baltimore, their number 9 hitter, Anthony Santander, will lead it off here in the third, followed by Jonathan Schoop and then Trey Mancini. Well, it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Rays and their baseball office. And, of course, Kevin Cash, a big part of that when they sit down and have their meetings, already starting to think about what they need to do to continue to make some progress in the American League East. You know, it's one thing, you look at this club, they're going to finish third this year, haven't done that in a couple of years, and they're going to win more games than they did last year, and that's all well and good, but the idea is to get to the postseason. And I think they felt as if they had a shot. You know, when you look at the American League, there are only 5 teams with winning records in the American League. The base hit the other way by Santander out to Dickerson. It's second hit surrendered by Archer. And so here you are. You know, the Minnesota Twins are going to go in, and you figure how many wins does it take to get into the postseason? Well, the Twins started the day with 84.
Oof. Yeah. And by the way, they could get in with 84. They could end up with more than that.
That's right.
But 84 is already qualified.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know how many years that's going to work out where 84 will get you. It certainly worked out this year, and you never know from year to year. But you know, there was opportunity there. There was an opportunity there for a lot of different teams. But I thought that when all those teams got bunched up, that the Rays had, at least on paper, the most well-rounded team when you looked at starting pitching, what the bullpen was doing, and what the offense had done. And you say, if this team just can hold serve, they're going to end up in the postseason. And I think that's why it's become such a disappointing year, on top of the fact that you look at the division itself, and there's really not a whole lot of margin for error moving forward. You look and see what the Yankees and the Red Sox have done, and you don't think with those teams and those young cores there's going to be a whole lot of movement with either one, so you're going to have to find a way to crack it.
Yeah, they're going to be good clubs. There's no question about that because of the youth of that talent. And the other issue, I mean, you know, we don't want to get too depressed here. But the other issue, Rays are going to have to win it coming out of the American League East. Those other teams don't have to be as good. The Rays have to be better. And I think head-to-head, you could make an argument that the Rays were as good as the Minnesota Twins. Twins played most of their games inside the American League Central. The Rays played most of their games inside the American League East. That's the way the system is. Nobody's crying in their beer or milk or whatever you're going to cry in. That's the reality. What that tells you is that this team's going to have to be better than the average wild card team, first or second. They're just going to have to be better playing in the American League East. It makes it tougher. So the challenge is greater for this team than I think the other clubs in the other divisions. And
you know, certainly for this year. And I think that's true too, because you talk about the American League East, and we've ad nauseum talked about the Yankees and the Red Sox and their core and how good that they're going to be moving forward, what they have in place and what they're going to be able to do. The Rays are certainly going to be in that conversation. When you do look at the AL Central, you see this Minnesota Twins team coming of age. You've got the Indians that arguably are the best team in baseball right now all around. You've got that rebuild going on in the White Sox, and if those guys hit, that team could be really good in the next couple of years. So, you know, there's going to be a lot to keep your eye on, but certainly that challenge of the AL East is never ending. It's never ending. You know, there's a small window where the Yankees were down for maybe a half a season and a half, you know, total. Boston's had a couple of down years, but overall it's so tough.
Echeverria takes care of that chopper. They get the out at second, safe at first. Scope chopped it, didn't hit it overly hard. Echeverria goes to Miller for the force on Santander, so they get the out there, but because of the chop, Scope had time to beat the relay throw in at first.
Now you got to wait for it to come down, and then you're as quick as you possibly can be, but Scope is hustling up the line. And he's able to beat it out. Credit to Jonathan Scope for not giving up on that ground ball.
You know, there are going to be seasons, and this might have been one of them, and there might be a couple seasons, you know, 2 or 3 right together where that wild card team could win it with 84. You know, during the course of this year, we talked about the 1973 Mets who won the division, a 2-division league, and they won the East in the National League in 1973 with 82 wins. They were 82 and 79. And there were a couple of years in there when winning a few games more than you lost kept you in the race. But that doesn't last forever. 2 strikes here on Mancini. So the Rays will have a challenging offseason. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
No question, because they try to be as creative and more than the next guy. And it's going to be interesting to see what this club does.
Yeah, I mean, because you've got a number of guys that are going to be up for free agency and decisions need to be made on them. Then you go, do you trade any of your assets? When you look at the pitching depth in this organization at the big league level and at the top of the minor league level, do you think about trading some pitching depth for a hitter? I mean, there's just so much to look forward to watching, because they are going to be proactive and they're going to be putting together a team that they are looking to, be playoff bound. Not you don't foresee a complete rebuild where you just break it down and leave bare bones and try to piece something together from there. So it'll be a fun offseason for sure to watch the moves.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, you don't completely discount that. I mean, clubs have done that. They've done it. I don't have any inkling as to what their thinking is on that. That's certainly one way to go, and the other way is to try to come back and be competitive again. They did make big strides. I mean, you win 78 games after you win 68. Well, those are 10 wins you didn't have a year ago, and there you are.
You know what you get caught on is that the ceiling.
Yeah.
Could you eke out another 2 or 3, and is that going to be good enough?
Well, it wasn't good enough this year to get those extra 2 or 3, and really that's all it would have taken, a few extras, and the way the ball falls or doesn't, however, sometimes makes a difference. Mancini skies it into right. Smith is there to take care of that, and back to first goes Scope. 2 gone. Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. The one thing it would appear with this club, and we'll see what happens with the lineup and who stays and who goes and all that, but this club really did suffer from lack of a right-handed bat.
Yes.
There's just no question about that.
The numbers against lefties will bear that out.
Yep. We're going into this series. They were 18 and 29 against left-handed starters. They won last night. They got 4 of their 7 runs off Wade Miley, and they were hitting in the 230s in those games against lefties. Up the right side, foul and out of the reach of Malik Smith. It's a strike on Manny Machado.
And you even had some right-handed hitters in the lineup that were almost reverse split guys that hit righties better than they did, lefties. Think about Sousa Jr. and his first, 25 or 26 homers came off of righties.
Yep.
And, that you would never have guessed something like that. Just a strange year. But, yeah, an extra right-handed bat certainly would have helped. And
2 on Machado. Reaching and late on that fastball out there. 0-2.
See, some of these guys, based on past experiences, will sit on that slider.
It's a little bit of that one. There was the slider, fouled it. No score. We're in the top of the 3rd. Jonathan Scope at first. 2 gone. Popped up. Right side. That's Logan Morrison making the catch. Base hit. The man left. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. No score. Moment it was on this date in 2013. The Rays won the 14th tiebreaker game in Major League history, punching that postseason ticket for the 4th time in 6 years. David Price becoming the 5th pitcher in baseball history to earn a complete game victory in that 1-game playoff. First time since Al Leiter did it with the Mets in 1999. And that New York team, I think they won 97 games that year and still had to win it like that.
Yeah, and then we played them in the opening round because Al Leiter had to pitch in that game. We opened up the series in Arizona, Randy Johnson against Masato Yoshii, and so kind of favorites going in, and lost that opening ball game. And then I ended up hooking up with Al Leiter in the game 4. We were down 2-1, game 4 at Shea. That one still bugs me because I left that game. I had gone 7 innings and gave up 2 runs and came out. We were up 3-2, and they tied it 3-3. And that's the extra inning. Todd Pratt off the bench, center field. Steve Finley jumps into the wall, and we go home losers.
Malik Smith going to drop this one in for a base hit. One hop in front of Mancini, and Malik Smith is aboard to begin the bottom of the 3rd. Yeah, who knew all these years later that you and Al Leiter would become premier analysts and future presidential candidates, perhaps?
Well, yeah, I guess. Well, listen, I guess if Trump could do it, I could probably.
Yeah, well,
out of nowhere.
I mean, I think Leiter's serious.
Here's the thing, when he comes strolling into the booth, he strolls in presidential.
He does.
He does act that he's interested in what you have to say when really he does not. So he sells that very well. And he always looks very presidential.
He does.
So I think he handles
got a lot going
himself
for him right there.
Yeah, very well. Very well. So I think that he's well on his way to a political, and he covers all his bases. He does a little, some stuff with New York, MLB Network. He spreads himself around his constituency. And he's way above anywhere where I'm at.
Look out, Charlie Montoyo. Kiermaier fouls one down through the coaching box. 0-2 the count. Malik Smith aboard at first base. Nobody out, and the Rays have the top of the order here. Second time through against Miguel Castro.
By the way, did you see the shot down in the dugout? Sousa Jr. has hijacked the headset down
Has
there.
he now?
He has.
Well, we'll check in with him and see what's going on over there. There's a stop at short by Hardy. Still gets the play at second. Ball popping away from him for a second. The veteran shortstop made a quick recovery and throw to Scope to get the speedy Malik Smith there at second base. And Kiermaier is aboard at first base. Well, let's go down to our dugout correspondent, Steven Sousa Jr. How you doing down there?
Guys, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing very well, thank you.
It's been nice to listen to you guys from this angle right here. Just put the headset on and listen to Dwayne's sweet voice.
The soothing sounds of Dwayne's stats. I told you.
There you go. There you go. What's going on down there? This is sometimes, we're supposed to talk with Alex Cobb later. We had Eric Neander up here earlier.
He knows because he has the sunflower seeds already raring to go.
I know that. There was a little discussion between the two of you about that the last time we talked with Alex.
Yeah, he was mad. He had sunflower seeds pelting him in the back, and he yelled at me like a dad would yell at a son who crossed the road without looking twice.
Yeah. No, we saw it. We even saw the interaction in between innings, which is where the really good work was done.
Yeah. Did you guys see? I've probably done that pitching form for him, and he gets so mad at me. I mean, if we're in mid-discussion, he will do that sometimes. He's so meticulous about the stuff he does, and so there'll be times when we're just talking, and I'll just start doing his leg kick, and he gets pretty mad at me.
Is he even more intimidating with the mustache?
He's a little more, it's a little scarier, definitely. I mean, you kind of don't know what you're going to get anymore out of him. You knew he was a bulldog, but now you're like, are you kind of like a creepy bulldog, or you just don't know anymore?
I like the look. Yep. He pulls it off well. Dwayne, you're one of those guys that pulls off the mustache. Not a lot of guys can. I think Alex can. Never saw it. Sousa Jr., you probably could, although the big bushy beard. Although it looks like you maybe have taken a razor to that thing.
I did. You got to come in, you got to look like you're mature in spring training, and you're growing and getting older, and then you leave and you make them remember that you're still young. You're still young.
I like that strategy.
Yeah, no, that's a great strategy.
That's what we're all trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
First impression, and then you go back to being the kid.
Yeah. Exactly.
There goes Kiermaier, and there's ball 4. Duda draws the walk. Rays with a couple men aboard with one out for Ramos.
Well, you know, I guess we have to congratulate you. I mean, you look at the season that you put together. You went out, know exactly what the name of it was, but basically the team MVP, set career high in home runs, runs driven in, doubles, triples, across the board.
Yeah, and all of that's well and good, but we like the entertainment value.
Well,
thank you guys.
Yeah, there's
Thank
a lot to get at, but yeah, a tremendous year.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you know, I look back and I'm very thankful for the year that was put together, and there's so many people that were a part of it. I just don't think that I look at this year though and go, you know what, this is as good as it's going to get, guys. I think I got a lot to work on in the offseason and come back and still got some stuff to prove.
Yeah, you know, we talked with Eric Neander up here an inning or so ago, and we talked about what they may have in mind, and of course all of that's still being formulated. There's a big secret room somewhere, I think, where all of that comes from. But there's no question that it would be nice to have a little right-handed bat help for you in that lineup.
Yeah, it was. I think there was a discussion. You know, one of my good buddies is J.D. Martinez at the break that he was going to come here. I mean, there was a little talk, and man, that would have been awesome to have him here. But you know, whatever they do, we just didn't hit lefties that well this year. I know that was a fact, and I had kind of an anomaly season where, you know, I went, I think 25 of my first homers were all off of righties, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And so just trying to figure out, you know, what happened there, if it was an anomaly, if there was something that I was doing, and if there's some kind of help we can get.
You know, we talked with him about that two-strike approach too. You know, the game tends to be more velocity-oriented from pitchers and power-oriented from hitters, but I think there's a legitimate case to be made for a two-strike approach here.
I agree. I think you watch what the Red Sox do, and they just put together really good at-bats over and over again. You know, you got Mookie and Dustin Pedroia and Xander and Benintendi, and they put together these exhausting at-bats, and they put the ball in play, and the pitcher never gets a breath. You know, I think a strikeout's kind of like a deep breath and reset. But when you're constantly on the move and you feel like anything can happen, especially with the speed they got, it creates havoc. And I think that, you know, we've had that idea when I was here in 15, and we've kind of got away from it a little bit. And I know that when I'm at my best, you know, I'm putting the ball in play with two strikes and letting things happen.
Yeah, and let me tell you, from a broadcaster's point of view, it makes us better when the team does that as well.
Yeah,
because it's a lot more fun for everybody, I think. I think it's a better product too, and certainly when you win, it's a much better product.
And you add pressure. You know, like you were saying, Steven, you know, you put the ball in play. You never allow that pitcher a breath. You're constantly putting pressure on the defense, especially the way that you guys have the tendency, and I'm talking about you and Kiermaier, everybody in that lineup, for the most part, busts it out of the box and is always looking to take the extra base. And just that little added element of pressure, as you see right there, taking an extra base, Kiermaier swipe at third, but that added element of pressure, you see mistakes made out in the field because of it.
Yeah, and you know what's huge about that is you end up putting yourselves in really good situations on the base paths when you do that. And you know, one thing that we got to get better as a team is when we got that guy on third right now with less than 2 outs, we got to figure out a way to get him in. You know, whether that's sacrificing yourself as an out, whether it's hitting a sac fly, I mean, whatever we got to do, we got to be able to get that run in and just start tacking on runs instead of waiting for a 3-run homer. I think when you can do that and then you add the power element in it, man, that's a dangerous lineup.
Yeah, getting a run out of a situation like this is such a big deal. Seems as if it's, you know, just another part of the game. You do it or you don't. But boy, when you can get that guy in that situation consistently, very big. That's what speaks to, and that's what our good buddy Steven Souza Jr. was just talking about, is that speaks to approach. You know, when you get that runner at third, the game situational hitting and what the pitcher's giving you, and like you said, maybe poking that ball to the right side to get that run in, and you know, again, it speaks to approach. And when you don't see that an awful lot, we talked up here with Eric Neanders, a lot of times you'll see a 3-1 swing, and it's the same swing as you'll see in a 1-2 count, and you know, that's where I think things can be tweaked a little bit.
And I think, you know, I'm just as guilty as anybody is. You know, you see something, you know, you don't want to. You think on 0-2 or 1-2 you're going to get that pitch that you're going to hit out of the park, but I think there's something in tucking your pride and putting it in play and going the other way and using the whole field and knowing that at the end of the year you're still going to end up with the same homers. You're still going to you're probably going to end up with a better average and less strikeouts if you just cut down on that idea. But that's, that takes more than just talking about it. That takes a philosophy and a commitment to believing, and this is the way we're going to score. We don't live or die by the homer, and when we can score in different ways, it's just going to be a huge threat to different teams.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of wisdom in that when you set aside pride and accomplish what's at hand. And I think that's what people do when they win.
And I will tell you this, having been out there and faced those types of guys that, early in the count, they'll take their shots.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you get them 1-2, 2-2, and they look to use the middle of the field and go the other way. Now, if you hang them something, they still can launch with 2 strikes. But they look to go up the middle the other way, and they change their approach a little bit. Those guys were the toughest, most annoying hitters to face because they covered everything. Or they covered as much as they could. And that made it a lot more difficult rather than the guys that were just freewheeling, swinging every pitch of every at-bat.
Morrison skies it to center. Hayes will make the catch. The Rays leave a couple here in the bottom of the 3rd. Steven Souza Jr., thanks for being with us.
Guys, thank you.
All right, we go to the 4th. Baltimore nothing, Rays nothing. Representing the Rays and the Baltimore Orioles. Join the Rays, support those affected by Hurricanes Irma and Maria. When our neighbors are in need, all of us can step up to make a very big difference. Donate at youcaring.com/Rays Hurricane Relief.
So, Dwayne, who's going to be the next guest on the show?
We have Alex Cobb coming up. At some point, we're going to have to get the old Merv Griffin set.
Yeah.
Moving in. We're having so many guests.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to invest in some 3x5 index cards so I can have those and have questions written down. But I thought that was awfully nice. Steven Souza Jr. out of nowhere grabs the headset and he gets himself on the show. Now he's talking to Alex Cobb about his experience.
0-2, kind of the warm-up act for Alex Cobb.
Yeah.
Will be up in the next inning or two.
And again, it's just like the whole reason we're having Alex Cobb back is the last interview that we did with him. It was the quickest half inning of that particular ball game, and we didn't get to any of the good stuff.
Yep.
Just like with Souza Jr., even with the Rays threatening, we could have got into some of the hijinks. The poor guy in Toronto that he tried to forearm shiver into the next week.
Alvarez lifts it into left, and Dickerson is there to make the catch. One away.
His dive that ended up 30 feet short, or actually I think it was 22 feet short.
There's a whole highlight film of him to be made.
And he did trim down that beard. Everybody going to their off-season facial hair.
Well, going back home, back to their home communities, have to look good.
Listen, this is why I'm bald. The story of why I ended up just shaving it all off was on the coaching staff in 08, and everybody had the Rayhawks.
Yep.
And my Rayhawk had a crosswalk halfway back, and it wasn't too cool. And so when
you weren't into bridge building at that time,
No, I didn't. There was no materials. Yeah. We were short on materials. So I get back home, and a couple of kids, and my age at that point, and I'm like, mohawk, and it's not even a good mohawk, just doesn't work. So let's, instead of growing it out to meet it, let's shave it down.
Yeah.
And it went 2 guard and then 1 guard, and then hey, how about the balding clippers? And ended up going with the razor, and ever since.
Yeah.
Too easy.
A good look, very becoming.
I can try a shirt on, and if I don't like it, I have to take it off. I don't have to redo anything.
Yeah.
Because before, trying to hide the smoke and mirrors that I was playing up top was difficult. It's difficult. Although I do have a pomade for you.
Thank you.
That you can caulk your bathroom with it.
This one down and
use it in your hair.
That saves, helps the budget.
Yeah. Back home, that doesn't play. At least for me, I couldn't have pulled that off. I mean, I'm not even sure what you would call that one, but I'll tell you what, the Kentucky waterfall going down the backside.
Yeah.
But you couldn't even say business up front, because with the shaved sides, it was not business up front, party in the back at all. It was just kind of like party all over. 24/7.
And after a while, that gets tiring.
It does.
It's very tiring.
It does. You cannot keep it up. No. This isn't college.
One strike to J.J. Hardy. What game?
We haven't talked about it, so far.
We do have 2 outs in the 4th. Alvarez hit a fly ball to left, and Davis struck out. 1-1 the count. That's a strike. 1-2. Archer tonight with 5 strikeouts. Gave up a first inning walk. Hardy's doubled in the 2nd, a single to Santander in the 3rd. And the foul out of play by Hardy, holding the count right there at a ball, 2 strikes. Right back in our lane. We'll be out of that lane soon, so don't worry.
We're gonna play it straight for the next inning and a half or so, and then, well, actually an inning plus. And then when Alex Cobb comes on, we'll go right back to the show.
2-2 now. What you're missing with that fastball, clocked at 96. And that's a strikeout. Hardy tried to check. Bruce Druckman down at first says that is a strike. He went around. And we go to the bottom of the 4th. Still no score. Tonight's deeper coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile. Well, the current scenarios would break out this way on the American League side. You can follow all of that on Fox. Yankees and the Twins battling to meet the Indians, Boston and Houston. And over in the National League, Rockies and Arizona right now battling it out. Corey Dickerson, ground ball, and he has himself a base hit out of the reach of Chris Davis, and Dickerson on the first pitch takes it into right field. He is 2 for 2. Boston beat Houston 6-3 at Fenway today, and the Yankees beat Toronto 2-1. So Houston with 100 wins, 161. Cleveland 101 wins. Danny Echeverria. A ball, no strikes. On the count, Echeverria doubled in the 2nd inning. Cubs shut out Cincinnati 9-0. The Dodgers with 102 wins out in the West. Washington 97.
Do you have any gut feeling on who your favorites are?
Well,
who you like in these series?
I'll tell you, I mean, I have to like Cleveland. I like Cleveland. I like them all the way right now.
Yep. I don't think you could get an argument out of too many people outside of Texas.
There's a base hit. This one into left. Dickerson stops at second base, and Echeverria is 2 for 2. So the Rays with another threat. They left 2 on in the 2nd, 2 men on in the 3rd.
Well, this right here for Castro, this is the challenge of being a starting pitcher. You know, having to go out there, not only do you have to, have yourself ready to go out there 5, 6, 7 innings and be in that kind of shape, but you've got to figure out different ways to get these hitters out 2, 3, 4 times.
Miller fouls it right back into the screen. Well, and he's in the mid-50s in pitch count, his first start ever in the big leagues. And we're going to see some action down in the bullpen.
His longest outing as of late, August the 23rd against Oakland, he went 50 pitches. And everything's been underneath that since.
This one bounces in away from Cisco. And now the Rays will have both runners in scoring position. with nobody out.
Well, he's just tapping out at this point, kind of running out of steam. That was a changeup right there that he really babied, slowed everything down, that little 3-finger prong, and is able to sneak by Cisco right up that right side.
Pitch is wide, 2-1. Richard Blyer, the lefty, is up in the bullpen. Pitch fouled back. Off speed. That was up and out over the plate. 2-2.
You can see that fatigue starting to settle in just a little bit. In a territory right now that he's not been in very often this season, getting this first start and having to work out of trouble. A lot of high leverage pitches the last few innings.
Oh, a shot deep to right. That baby's gonna go. Home run off the bat of Brad Miller. A 3-run shot. And the Rays cash in here in the 4th. Brad Miller's 9th home run of the year. The Rays take the lead.
Even the breaking ball here by Castro, not very sharp at all. See on the side of it, that just kind of rolling in there right into the swing. Could not have placed that any better for Brad Miller, and he did not miss it.
So with one swing of the bat, the Rays have 3. And there's a broken bat right back to Castro. Robertson split the barrel end of the bat with that one right back at Castro. That's the first out. And Buck Showalter comes out of the dugout now. Here's a look at that bat exploding. So the Orioles will make the pitching change. Call to the bullpen. Brought to you by the Florida Lottery. Brad Miller's home run. Enter your Lotto Fantasy 5 or all new Fast Play ticket in the Florida Lottery Game Day Cash Promotion. You can win a 2018 Lazy Days RV motorhome. Over $200,000 in cash prizes, bowl tickets, season tickets, and more. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. 59 pitches for Castro. 3 runs, 6 hits in 3 1/3. Richard Blyer on to face Malik Smith. And the first pitch fastball inside, ball 1. High chop. This is Hardy. Close at first, and the throw in time. 2 gone. And now we go to the top of the order. Kiermaier officially 0 for 2, reached on a fielder's choice, stole a base. He takes the ball. His 15th stolen base of the year. It's pulled foul. Cracked bat. winners last night 7-0. They lead 3-0 tonight. We're in the bottom of the fourth. Now 1-2. Cut and a miss. Kiermaier strikes out against the lefty. 3 runs, singles by Dickerson and Echeverria, and a home run off the bat of Brad Miller. We go to the 5th inning. It's 3-0 Tampa Bay. MLB.com at bat. Still your #1 mobile app for live Rays baseball. Stay connected with the fully customizable experience. Get Rays home screen icons and app features, as well as live game video highlights, StatCasts, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today. Well, that onesie still very fashionable. And here's Chance Sisco taking a strike to begin the 5th inning. 4 innings tonight for Archer gets him to 200 innings for the year. Through the first 4, he's given up a couple of hits and a walk, 6 strikeouts. And he's ahead of Sisco, 0-2.
How about that get up right there? You've got the
brew head.
The brew head, and with the tuxedo T-shirt. Yeah, see how his
down
goes
memory lane.
Well, but his actually goes all the way. Mine had a little crosswalk and had a guard there. Yeah, Seattle had a hard time pulling that off. Full, off season. But who knows? Maybe he's got a big match this week, a little MMA action next week. Enjoy a ball game before he gets down to action. Maybe later tonight. Who knows?
That's right.
It's Saturday. Oh boy.
Yeah, it is Saturday.
Head start.
Truly.
There was some tailgating going on, Dwayne, out there. And my man pulled up nice and early.
Full count here in the 5th. Saturday night out.
That's it. Enjoy a little college game day. Watch a little USF action. Get nice and ready to go. Head on into the Rays game.
And that is ball 4. Didn't miss by much, up a little bit. So a leadoff walk. Second time tonight the Orioles have put the leadoff hitter aboard. This time on the walk. Santander singled to begin the 3rd inning. Sisco walks to open the 5th. And now Austin Hayes.
I think you'll see next season, maybe not a complete overhaul, obviously, but a different look to this Orioles team. And I think Austin Hayes is going to be a part of it. Sisco's got a chance to be part of it on some level. Miguel Castro, you may see him as a starter. Who knows?
Well, pitching has been a major issue for this Baltimore ball club. Of course, not the easiest home ballpark to pitch in. The pitch was up, a fastball mid-90s, and Hayes, who has shown us he likes to swing the bat, was going up after that one, fouled it back.
He's got a quick bat. He's got a willingness to use the middle of the field. Hallmarks of a guy that can put up a pretty good average, which is exactly what he did in the minor leagues this season.
Under this one, skies it into left. Dickerson takes care of it. One away with the runner aboard here in the 5th. Stay tuned in the 7th inning for the Jeep Compass game break, when Rich and Orestes provide highlights from around Major League Baseball.
Number 25, Anthony Santander.
Anthony Santander, young man, a Rule 5 pick out of the Cleveland organization. Spent a considerable time on the disabled list and now active, and all of that means that there'll be some carryover to the time the Orioles have to have him on their roster to protect him. Otherwise, they'll have to offer him back to Cleveland.
I don't think that you're going to see that.
No, I don't either.
I think that they're going to do exactly what they need to do to keep him around. And this is a guy, the way that he's swung the bat, even that base hit he had earlier in this game.
A high popper, shallow center. Echeverria hustles out there and makes the catch. It's the second out with Cisco still at first after the leadoff walk.
Yeah, got a good build to him. You know, strong kid, switch hitter, young again. Something that the Orioles want to do across the board. Pitching staff, position player, get younger, more athletic.
Swing and a miss by Jonathan Schoop. One. Two-one count. Ground ball sharply hit, and a great pickup by Echeverria. Out at second base. Oh, what a play. Echeverria does it again. This time getting the force play at second on a hard hit ball off the bat of Jonathan Schoop. What a star by this one. Echeverria. It's his second for the force play. We'll be chatting with Alex Cobb in the bottom of the fifth. 3-0 Rays. Hold the lead here over the Baltimore Orioles on the strength of a 3-run home run in the fourth by Brad Miller. Happy to have Alex Cobb join us here in the bottom of the fifth. That conversation we had with you, Alex, earlier was just the warm-up, and in fact we had Steven Souza Jr. Be your warm-up act tonight. So
he's conveniently found his way down to the dugout, into the dugout, eating the seeds this time.
And read his sign.
Read his sign. Please don't yell at me.
There you go.
You know what? We've got a lot of attention from that. I gotta say, I look like a pretty angry old man with this mustache and yelling at Steven Souza, little child over in the corner. But look, he learned his lesson. He's doing it the proper way.
There you go. See,
that's what they're made for.
Yeah, that's sometimes you have to be stern. You know, tough love right there.
I got my point across.
You did. You did. And he said, listen, he ripped me a new one and did a pretty good job of it. And with the more mature look, you know, Souza Jr. explained to us that he shaved that beard down, wanted to be a more mature look, good first impression guy. It seems like the seat throwing has followed suit.
He's still immature. He's doing the when we were in New York, we saw the Blue Man Group, and so we think he looks like one of them with the eyes. They're talking with their eyes, and so he's doing that move on me right now. Whatever he can do to get on the camera or get the attention on him, he's gonna take full advantage of. But no, I'm good.
And you know what's funny about that too? The Blue Man Group, for the longest time, I always thought the Blue Man Group was a support group for depressed men. Well, and here I guess it's an act.
Yeah,
there you go.
Well, it lifts you up. It makes you happy.
Hey, you make the most of what you have.
Yeah,
there's a whole career there.
listen, we last time we recapped your season, we got through the baseball end of things. It was the quickest half inning of the game.
Yeah.
Completely bootleg.
Yep.
Let's get to the good stuff.
Well, we already got one out. We haven't talked about anything.
And explain the Lieutenant Dingle mustache that you have going that I, by the way, think looks awesome. And if you can put on a pair of aviators with the mirrored lenses, that is legit.
Yeah. You know, every interaction I have with it makes an impact right away, one way or the other. Some people are all in on it. Some people are all out and won't even make eye contact with me, just keep walking. So I'm mixed. My wife hates it, so it's kind of pushing the idea to keep it a little bit longer. But we had an off day in New York, and we played golf, me and Steven Cishek, and we played actually for whoever loses buys the Blue Man Group tickets. And by the way, the loser also has to wear a mustache throughout the remainder of the season. And I mean, obviously, you know who won. And it was the toughest course I've ever played in my life. It was Bethpage Black, and if you're not right down the middle of the fairway, you're weed whacking the rest of the way to the hole. So I stood no chance, really. I was all over the place, but you know, I didn't think it all the way through when I made the bet. I had a lot more to lose. I'm doing my kind of quote-unquote farewell tour, it feels like, and I've had more. I mean, I'm on with you guys twice in 4 days. I haven't been on with you in 2 years. So, I mean, there's just been a lot of attention and a lot of goodbyes, and it's funny because I've had a lot of, you know, last final pictures with people asking to get photos or whatever it might be, and that's going to be their lasting memory of me is them taking a photo with me with a mustache. So I wouldn't have it any other way. I think it's great. I had an award ceremony the other day. I had to wear the mustache and explain myself there too. So I'm happy I lost.
Yeah, well, you're speaking to two guys who are invested in mustaches.
Yeah, the Mustache Club.
Yeah, we kind of like them, but I'll tell you, the weight that your wife will carry, I mean, we all know that's heavy duty.
Doesn't leave.
No.
Yeah,
no.
It gets worse.
Yeah, I mean, so somehow you're going to have to talk her into liking it.
Maybe you could
That's
try.
not gonna happen. Yeah,
I've tried. Yeah,
well, and this is what I'll say. I'll say, listen, you're going to end up doing what you do, but I think the look is good. It doesn't look out of place.
I don't know if
some
that's a
guys, they
compliment.
try to pull out the mustache, and you're like, you're forcing it. Doesn't fit. It fits.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it fits. You can do it. You can do the beard, but that mustache, you can sell that too.
Should I be happy about that?
You
no
should.
offense, Dwayne.
Yeah.
You look great with it. You do. I'm only 30. You know, I feel like 29. I feel like I should be able to pull off a mustache.
Yeah, well, I was only 9 when I started, so.
Oh, times were different then.
Times were different.
Hey, so tell us, how are you faring so well in the fantasy football league?
My kind of thing with fantasy football is I always I sign on with a catcher. First year I got spoiled. I was with Chris Jimenez and we won the whole thing. I do nothing. I show up on Sundays and I watch my team play. I let the catchers GM. I pay the ante fee, and then I just watch the whole thing unfold. The last 2 or 3 years, I've had Kirk Casale in charge, and he is tanking hard this year. And I tell him every day, you're on the hot seat. The extension's coming up, or his contract's coming up next year, and I don't know if I'm extending him.
Well, let me ask you this: how many Cleveland Browns do you have on your roster?
I couldn't tell you. Probably not many.
Yeah. Well, that right there would be a great start.
Yeah.
That would be an absolutely fantastic start.
You can talk to Kurt about that.
So you're like I was. When those leagues started up, it was all about the draft. Love the draft, the frivolity with all your teammates. Yep. And then after that, I have no time for the minutia, the day-to-day waiver claims.
Waiver claims. None. I mean, I don't know what that is. And it was unfortunate I had pitched the next day, so I didn't even get to go to the draft. So I really, it's really been a bummer season so far for me.
You're just out the money because Sally's tanking, and you didn't even get the draft.
No, I got no value for my buck.
You did not.
No.
Well, 2 outs here.
Longer inning.
Yeah, a little longer inning.
Well, so what off-season plans? I mean, when everything's said and done, what do you have anything coming up that stands out, or how do you spend the off-season?
Me and my wife moved out to Arizona probably starting 2 off seasons ago. just to get a change. I lived in Florida my whole life, and we just wanted to mix things up a little bit, try it out there, and we fell in love with it out there. So that's been great. But the moving your whole life every 6 months part of it is painful. More for her. She does it all.
Yep.
And then, so, these last 2 weeks really been spent orchestrating that whole move, getting the dog shipped, getting the house shipped, the car shipped, everything that goes into that. So dealing with that, going to enjoy myself. We're going to take a little vacation somewhere early on, and then, see where the offseason takes us. But nothing concrete as of right now.
Boy, those moves are brutal. When you think about, half the season is spent, here playing, and even half that time you're traveling.
Right.
You're all over Then you've got your off-season home. Oh, by the way, you spend 2 months in another city for spring training. It's
forgot about
nuts.
that one.
Yeah.
Well, the tougher part is that we don't own a home. We've rented my whole life, so we don't even have a storage unit to keep it all. So it's all, we shed everything every 6 months, which is good, but it would be nice to have, your pictures hung up on a wall and they stay there all year. They're coming everywhere with us.
He's been good so far.
I think great discipline right there.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's extremely tempting for him right now. There we go. Jake's taking it. Put the horse blinders on him.
Well, Logan Morrison doing a good job here of extending this inning.
Yes, he is.
You guys keep cutting me off.
Bases empty.
Well, it's nice to see Jake up and around and throwing towels after coming out of that ball game last night.
Yeah, I think he's going to be all right. He's going to make his next start. The doctor said
it's the neighborhood game. We get one last neighborhood game before he moves out.
Right, yeah. Doctor said to take 5 weeks off, and he said no problem. He had it scheduled anyways.
Was that Dr. Kenneth Noisewater?
Is that your doctor?
It's the doctor I go see when I have issues, yes.
Okay. Let's wrap this thing up, huh, Lomo?
Yeah, 3-2 here in this extended at bat for Logan Morrison.
Yeah, things are starting to come apart here a little bit.
Well, it's September 29th, right?
It is. Yeah. Well, no, actually, it's
30th.
Yeah,
it's the 30th.
That's right.
It is
October the 1st tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen you guys just pack your entire episode, the entire game with random interviews. Every time I go inside, you got somebody else on.
Yeah, this is a spring training game, and
yes.
when Chris Archer wraps up his start, Alex is going to grab him down at the end of the dugout.
Oh, perfect.
On the way back to, the clubhouse.
Yeah, we were going to try to get some props from the old Tonight Show, but we couldn't get them here in time, so we're just using the chairs we have. Otherwise, you could have been up here with us.
Late night with the Rays.
That's it. Late night with the Rays.
We got to keep going.
Base hit the other way.
You guys better fire away find some material.
Okay, time
Google
out.
something.
So you pack up the house, you're going to Arizona. Do you make the drive ever? Or is it always through the
Never.
So you ship and fly?
Ship, fly. How about this?
Not a drive guy.
Yeah, no. That thought's never even, we're about to get a pitching? No. Oof. That thought's never entered my mind. I've done flights the entire time. The craziest part of the move is the dog shipping part. We have 2 people that have done it every time for us, and they're a married couple. They don't own a home. They rent a minivan, and somewhere, wherever you are, I'll go throughout the course of my year, and I'll just think, those 2 are out on the road right now somewhere, shipping dogs from the East Coast to the West Coast. That's their entire life. They don't own a home. They live in the van together. They sleep at rest stops, and they just pick up dogs from the East Coast and the West Coast and bring them from doorstep to doorstep for you. So
a perpetual dog valet.
Yeah, it's I pictured Dumb and Dumber with the shaggin' wagon, but I was let down when it was just a normal green van when they pulled up.
Yeah, that's one of our favorite wagons.
Yeah, with the leg that comes up to fill the gas.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is. Oh man, I'm going to tell you what. It's going to get up there too. Come on.
Oh, look at that glove flip and out at second. Scope to Hardy right there. Yeah. Alex, I'm sure that we speak for all the fans who have watched you here. We've enjoyed being with you, and we wish you the very best, and certainly appreciate your approach to this game and what you meant to this ball club.
It's my pleasure, guys. Thank you for everything. I really do appreciate it.
Alex Cobb with us here in the bottom of the 5th. We go to the 6th, 3-0 Tampa Bay. We're at the end of 5, on to the 6th inning. Light up your night with your favorite Sea Dog Raymond. Come out to the game tomorrow. Rays take on the Orioles, and all kids 14 and under receive a Raymond Nightlight presented by Duke Energy while supplies last. Visit RaysBaseball.com. The whole menagerie with that fan right there.
Yeah, how about that? Got everything covered. Had the monkey and the parrot.
Steve Cishek into this game now. 5 innings for Archer. He leaves with the Rays up 3-0.
You get the feeling too that both of those animals stay in the car. They're in the car. Yeah, they are in the car. That's not a special occasion. That wasn't purchased here at the ballpark. Those were brought in. Those stay in the car.
Might be more than car. Might be a wagon.
Could be the shaggin' wagon.
Could be.
Have them right in the back.
Yep.
How about that though? That's an off-season job for me, Dwayne, because I like to drive.
Echeverria. Yeah, I'm there with you. Mancini's out, so he's riding the 17-game hitting streak 0 for 2. Yeah, need a little room for the animals.
Well,
and,
yeah,
probably got it.
Yeah. I'm convinced.
Yeah, driving's fun. It's
fun.
interesting to hear Alex say that he doesn't like to do that at all.
Well, I'm wondering if he's ever given it a real try.
Because if you do,
yeah,
there's nothing better.
Because here's the thing.
A couple things better, but it's really good. It's fun.
It is. It is. Definitely top 4 or 5. But this is my thought on driving. Because I make that drive, from Ohio down to here, Arizona, wherever it may be, where the season was, spring training was, and all that. The 4 to 6 hour drive is the annoying drive. That's the drive where you don't look forward to it because you feel like you should be there, but it takes a while. When you get in the car and you're going, listen, I'm driving to Cleveland, and it's going to take me 17, 18 hours. That's fun. You're going nowhere. Just get in. First couple hours stink for me, and then you get into that rhythm, and you don't even want to stop to do anything because you're in such a nice little. No, I don't even want to stop and get gas. Things are flowing. But, if you've done one of those long drives, I think he would like it. I think he would.
A little PR work by the enforcer down there. That was great. Just Scott Kersey down there. Check this out.
See Stan trying to make another left-handed catch.
Yeah, the curse is right there. The enforcer. And Machado, a big swing and miss. He's out on strikes, so Cishek retired the first 2 men he faces. Yeah, the long drives are great. And even if I'm going to the same place, someplace I've been before, I want to take another route to get there. Do that.
Yeah.
Just see places you've never seen. Get on some of the blue highways instead of the interstate.
That would be something to do. That would be a nice off season. Is things, finish up and rent an RV and go on a 2-week around the country.
Yep.
You've done that.
I haven't rented an RV, but
you've done
spent some time around. Yeah, it's really fun. I love doing that.
My problem is this. The RV would have to have a satellite dish, and I'd be able to have to watch football. I mean, I can't be without that.
Oh, look out. Right back through the middle. Yeah, I get you.
I'm sure they have that.
Sure, you could do that. You could absolutely do that.
But that would be fun.
It's kind of fun to just kind of separate yourself from what you've been doing, and you're out there doing some new things, seeing some new things. Who knows, this offseason we might pass each other in a 4-way style.
We could. We could.
Wasn't that BA we just saw?
Well, you'll know if by the look of the car or truck or van even.
1 strike to count on Chris Davis. And a big swing right there. He struck out twice tonight, 0 for 2. Orioles no runs, 3 hits. Rays shut them out last night. 7-0.
Yeah, they just continue to struggle piecing anything together. And the Rays, I'll tell you what, the pitching staff for the Rays, and you think about last night with Jake coming out early, a lot of guys have gotten a shot at this lineup for at least an inning and have put the ball in good places, stayed out of the middle of the plate, stayed out of some of these home run swings, and they've kept this team off the board.
It's away, and it's 2-2. At Archer for 5 innings, 2 hits allowed, no runs. Now Cishek. Pitch stayed wide, and it's a full count. Archer struck out 6 in this game. So Archer for the year, 201 innings and 149 or 249 in the strikeout department. There's ball 4 to Davis. So 201 innings, 249 strikeouts, 60 walks for Archer, and he leaves this game with a chance to win his 10th game of the year. First and second, Alvarez up to second. Davis takes over at first. J.J. Hardy steps in. Hardy with one of the 3 hits collected now by Baltimore. There's a strike on the outside corner. That one will not be called a strike. 1-1. So Michael Gibbons up in the bullpen down the left field line for Baltimore there a moment ago. And this one started in, stayed in, didn't bite. Now 2 balls and a strike. Catcher Chance Cisco is on deck. And a liner right at Morrison to retire the side. No runs, a hit and a walk, 2 left. Bottom of the 6th coming. 3-0 Tampa Bay. Lead. They come in to hit in the bottom of the 6th. Eldorado Furniture invites you to settle in with us tomorrow. The Rays take on the Orioles, and our coverage begins at 2:30 with Rays Live. Michael Gibbons, the local product, becomes the 3rd pitcher of this game for Baltimore. Danny Echeverria 2 for 2 tonight. 255. Gibbons starts him with a ball inside, 1-0. Ground ball sharply hit. Gibbons, the former infielder, fields his position very well and makes the play.
You know what? The last time the Rays faced the Orioles and Gibbons, he had a number of plays. You got to stop trying the former infielder.
Yeah, you can't get the ball by him.
He's been there, done that.
Yeah, Gibbons pulled an Echeverria on Echeverria right there. Good play.
How's it feel? I tell you, it made another nice play on that fielder's choice to end the inning a couple innings ago. And
yes, he did.
I tell you, you watch him play the position, his range, how smooth he is, the way that he gets rid of the baseball. I love the fact that he fields a ground ball, just the way that he fields it in rhythm, and the hand right to the ear. Same throwing motion all the time, so the throws stay true to the bag. Doesn't get a lot of fading action or anything like that. He throws through the baseball. He has been fun to watch. 2-1
count on Brad Miller, who hit the 3-run home run in the 4th inning. That has accounted for all the runs, his 9th home run of the year.
I'll tell you who else has been fun to watch, and we were talking about it in between innings with Steve Cishek. He has been
shut down.
Dude, I mean, 24 appearances with the Rays, and 23 have been scoreless.
Yep.
Like, not so much as an unearned run. He was scored upon in one outing as a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. That's it. As close to automatic as you can get.
Well, he's part of that with that delivery. You know, we've talked about Buck Showalter liking that. We've seen the Rays do some of that. A couple other clubs where the bullpen is just filled with different looks from each pitcher.
Yep.
You bring in out of that bullpen, and he leads the charge in that department.
He's one of the few guys. You know, Michael Givens actually is another who's got more of a sidearm. Cishek, you know, a little bit even lower than him, or at least a longer extreme reach. He's so tall and lanky. Yep. But these two guys with their arm angles are two of the few that can get velocity. You know, Cishek 91, 92. We've seen Givens up in the mid-90s right there. And that's something else. It's one thing to have a different look and a different release point to have to pick up, and then you've got good velocity down there too.
Yeah, and Givens is one of the few that gives you that look and then that 97.
Yeah, though that is such a rarity.
And to short center, Hayes coming in out from shortstop Hardy, and Hardy gets there. It's a nice play. Shallow center field. Hardy covered a little ground going out there after it. So 2 gone. Dan Jennings, the lefty, is up for the Rays now. Daniel Robertson facing Givens. Which is a strike. One. Robertson has played third base tonight. He's played second and short and third. Some talk about him playing in the outfield next year.
I think that he'd be willing to give it a try too. He's one of those guys, anything to stick with the team, anything to contribute to the team. I mean, I'm sure personally, you know, he's got some things that he'd like to do, but you put that to the side for the betterment of the team, and he's that type of guy. We've seen how that, you know, it used to be you wanted that utility infielder. Preferably they could play a little second, a little short, and that was it. And now you start to see different guys, like you said, bouncing around from infield positions, maybe to some corner outfield. Make yourself so much more valuable.
Well, every position we've seen Robertson man on the infield. He's been very good there. His approach has been correct. He walks with 2 outs. I mean, fundamentally, I think he's really comfortable at second base. He's played a lot at short, even at third, but fundamentally he's a good infielder and good footwork.
And you know, that footwork too, when you talk about stuff like that, it's different at every position. Yeah, I mean, your throw from second, short, and third, they're all different throws. You know, different, you know, rhythm and timing and all that stuff. Even direction, the way that you're going to square yourself up to make that throw. You think about the way that you come across from shortstop in a double play, the way that you're going to do it at second base. A lot of different things to learn and work on.
Different arm angles.
Yeah. I mean, it'll keep you busy, that's for sure.
1-1. Robertson has walked with 2 outs. Rays facing the third Baltimore pitcher. And the off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2. And that takes care of Malik Smith and the Rays in the 6th. We'll go to the 7th with the Rays holding a 3-0 lead.
Showstopper here tonight is going to be Aaron Judge, and I think we can all guess what he did. Off Marcus Stroman, he got a hanger, a backup breaking ball, and hammers this thing up over the bullpen. I mean, he hit that up on the concourse.
Yeah, they say 484 feet.
Sure.
How about that? Well, that's heavy company right there. 33 home runs at home, and he has eclipsed Babe Ruth, already more than Gehrig and Maris. So when it comes to home runs, he is claiming new Yankee Stadium.
Well, he came out of the All-Star break, and the Rays saw him shortly after that, and it really did a nice job against him, and so did the league, made the adjustment. But I'll tell you what, in the month of September, when you think about those home runs, his most home runs in any given month, and you're right, he's taken ownership of that building with his offensive production. Been incredible.
You know, just like Babe Ruth in 1923 hit the first home run at Old Yankee Stadium. Also made the first error. He dropped a fly ball that day. But he took charge of Yankee Stadium, and they called it the house that Ruth built. And now along comes this young man and has completely taken charge of new Yankee Stadium this year. And what a rookie year. Dan Jennings in here facing the catcher Chance Sisco. Sisco has struck out and walked. Behind in the count right now, 1-2. We saw Tommy Hunter up in the Rays bullpen. And Sisco is out on strikes. Jennings takes care of him. And Austin Hayes heads to the plate.
Center fielder Austin Hayes.
Pitch is a ball down and in. Heading down. It's a chop. Jennings throws a strike to first to get Hayes. A nice play, nice strong peg to first right there.
Yeah, and you had to. I used to hate those choppers like that, and Jennings, I'm sure, feels the same way because you've got to wait for him to come down, and all that while that hitter is chugging up the first baseline. So you realize once that ball gets into your glove, it's got to leave right away to be able to record the out. He did a great job.
Well, here is the Rule 5 pick playing now with the Orioles out of the Cleveland organization. And he chops it down to third base. Robertson makes it a 1-2-3 inning. So strikeout and a couple of ground balls. 7th inning stretch time. That means we'll head out to Rich Hollenberg and Orestes Destrada in left field for the Jeep Compass game break.
From the left field perch inside Tropicana Field, welcome inside our Jeep Compass game break. We'll get you back to game action in just a second. Rich and the Big O. This day was dominated by Chris Archer, although they only let him go 85 pitches in 5 innings. but he racked up 6 strikeouts in that time.
And he got his 200th inning, which is, obviously something he was going after. Little surprised he came out. He was outstanding, though, today. I love the slider. I love the control. It was just impeccable right now, what he was doing, and I was hoping he would get that one extra inning. Only 85 pitches, Rich.
And then he got some help with the offense, with Brad Miller belting a 3-run home run. That is all the scoring in the game right now. Miller's 9th home run of the season, his first 3-run home run of the season, and that has staked the Rays to a 3-0 lead. So that's taking place as we speak right here, right now. Earlier today, though, the Boston Red Sox clinched their 2nd consecutive American League East Division title. And here's a look at how they did it against one of the best teams in the American League, the Houston Astros.
Well, you know what? They did it the way they've done the whole season. Small ball, a lot of hits. There's more. Mitch Moreland with another double. This time they went big fly right there with the home run. But listen, the reality is that this team was the most impressive teams in extra innings of any that we've seen in the last 50 years. The best record in extra innings and in small ball type games. And there it is, Kimbrel locking it up for them.
And interestingly enough, those two teams will face each other in the American League playoffs as well. That'll be your Jeep Compass game break. Now it's back to Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson for the remainder of Rays and Orioles Game 2.
See it all with the all-new 2017 Jeep Compass. Right now, well-qualified lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2017 Jeep Compass for $119 a month.
All right, fellas, thank you very much. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Donnie Hart's the new pitcher, the lefty on the hill for Baltimore, facing the top of the order. Kevin Kiermaier takes the pitch in there for a strike. Duda scheduled next, and then Ramos 3rd in the Rays order tonight. 1-1. Duda on deck. Two. The liner going to be a base hit, dropping into center field. So Kiermaier opens the 7th inning against Hart with a single. The Rays have managed to put men on base in every inning tonight except the first.
Number 21, designated hitter,
Just able to catch that breaking ball, just tracking its way all the way across the strike zone, and Kevin Kiermaier with good plate coverage, base hit to lead off here in the 7th.
One ball, no strikes.
Everybody wants to finish the season on a high note, and so you play it through, you play it all the way to the end. Maybe there's a mark that you'd like to get to. We saw Archer get to 200 innings here tonight. That's always a big one for a pitcher.
One to count on Duda. Rays have 3 runs, 8 hits now on the base hit by Kiermaier. Two. Swing and a miss. Runner on the move. And Kiermaier is in there with a steal. Second stolen base of the night for Kiermaier. This one on the strikeout of Duda.
He's gotten both of them. Got third, and then now here gets second. Didn't even have a very big lead. It wasn't even set, but he takes advantage of Donnie Hart's delivery out of the stretch, taking a little bit of time and getting in there ahead of the throw.
Wilson Ramos. A couple of ground ball outs to third and a strikeout in the middle of those two ground ball outs. 0 for 3. Be a strike. 1-1. Tommy Hunter down there along with Chaz Rowe, the right field bullpen. And the start by Kiermaier, and a balk has been called on Donnie Hart, and he's looking for an explanation.
Just that little bit of added pressure there, and Kiermaier taken off of second base. Yeah, just a little bit of a move there by Donnie Hart, unnatural. You could see him all set and almost a little bit of a twitch, very subtle. But boy, you're down there on the field with your eyes trained on him. Becomes an easy call for the umpiring crew.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Miguel Castro started tonight for the Orioles. The Rays got all 3 of their runs off him. One swing of the bat by Brad Miller. A shot to center field by Ramos. Caught at the track by Hayes, and Kiermaier will score. So Kiermaier singled, stole a couple bases, scores on the sacrifice fly by Ramos, and the Rays have their 4th run.
Well, think about that inning right there. Not the inning, but what Kiermaier did. Out of the leadoff spot, a base hit. You swipe second, you force a mistake defensively, get over to third, and then Ramos gets you in with a sacrifice fly. That's a manufactured run right there.
So the Rays make it a 4-run lead. The 35th run batted in for Ramos. There's Logan Morrison. I don't know. Morrison 1 for 3. A little add-on run here as Kiermaier scored. Steal, then the threat of the steal, and the balk moved him to third with 1 out. Ramos took care of it with a fly ball. Now a strike. Morrison tried to check his swing, went around, and it's 1-1. Aaron O'Day up in the bullpen. One ball, 2 strikes. When Morrison tried to walk off that foul ball. Breaking pitch floating up there, fouled away as it broke away. Morrison had the extended at bat in the 5th, an 11-pitch at bat that resulted in a single. Now down in the count, he's fouled away a couple pitches. Hits it on the ground, backhanded by Davis. The toss to Hart. The Rays get a run in the 7th inning. On to the 8th, 4-0 Tampa Bay. Baseball on Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by your Southern Chevy dealers. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. On to the 8th we go, the Rays and the Orioles. Tommy Hunter will be the new pitcher for the Rays. 4th of the night. Archer 5, Cishek 1, Jennings 1, and now Hunter with the top of the batting order coming up for Baltimore. Last night the Orioles had 4 hits. They were 4 for 29 last night. There's a liner into center. That's going to drop and a base hit. This is their 4th hit tonight. They're 4 for 25 right now. And Scope picks up his 182nd hit of the year. Well, Trey Mancini 0 for 2 with a walk, came in with a 17-game hitting streak. Bounds it back. Orioles have scored 4 runs in their last 4 games. As we mentioned at the outset, 80 for the month of September. A lot of power. They've had 239 home runs, but they've had a difficult time after a good August offensively. Very difficult time in September.
Well, when you talk about, you know, what they've done offensively in this series, 4 hits last night, 4 hits tonight. They came into tonight's game with a 272 on base for the month of September. So the home runs have dried up, and you're getting on base at a 272 clip. Forget average. That's on base percentage. That's everything. You just don't create any opportunities for yourself at all. And that's why they were 7-19 in the month so far coming in. Could be 7-20 after tonight.
And that's a strike. Fastball, mid-90s on the corner. Walk, so the first 2 men are on. Single by Scope, the walk to Mancini. Orestes Estrada on the run. Could have got to the set. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. 3-game show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Doug Wechter will break down Blake Snell, and Orestes will examine the season of the Rays first baseman Logan Morrison. Getting a little workout in.
Got to be on time.
Was looking over his right shoulder. Someone might be chasing him.
There are important documents in that briefcase.
A little tap right side. Morrison will make the play unassisted at first to get Machado. Scope to third, and Mancini over at first. That was not a home run trot by Orestes Estrada.
You think that was like he's reliving, like stealing second base?
Yeah, I think that was his stealing speed there.
With a smile, of course.
And he made it. Look, he
did.
it.
He was safe. Nice.
It's all good.
Yeah. That's the home run.
Yeah, there.
That's the home run.
That's it. Yeah.
Except
there
he's running to third.
Oh yeah. So man at second and third with one out for Pedro Alvarez. And he lines it over the head of Morrison into right for a base hit. Scope scores. Here comes the second run. Mancini crosses the plate. And Alvarez gets Baltimore on the scoreboard. And it's 4-2.
Boy, just as we talk about this team having trouble manufacturing runs, they do just that. Get the runners over, and then Pedro Alvarez gets them in. A tough cutter there by Tommy Hunter, and that's been a good pitch for him all season long. But he got enough of it that he's able to just get it over the head of Logan Morrison, and the Orioles cut this lead in half.
Now Chris Davis, which is inside to him. Davis 0 for 2 with a walk. Struck out 3 times last night with a walk. Twice tonight with that base on balls. 1-1. Rays get some action up in their bullpen. They've got Archer, Cishek, Jennings, and now Hunter. O'Day's been up for Baltimore. Ground ball, grabbed by Miller. Out at second, over to first on the old 4-5-3 double play with Robertson, the third baseman, in the middle. Nicely done right there out of the shed. We'll take another look. Bottom of the 8th coming, 4-2 Rays. Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sound is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Rays come in to hit in the bottom of the 8th inning. Their lead is now 2-4-2 as Corey Dickerson faces the left-hander Donnie Hart. Takes the ball. A couple of hits tonight for Dickerson. He's average up to 280 right now with a 2 for 3 night. One and one. All 2 strikes. Rays start to get Alex Colomé loose in the bullpen with Dickerson, Echeverria, and Miller scheduled to bat. There is Colomé. Rays led 4-0 until the Orioles scored their first 2 runs of the series in the top of the 8th. Two and two. And to play down to short. Go to first in time. Will be the first out in the bottom of the 8th inning. Hardy to Davis, and Buck Showalter's out of the dugout, and making his way to the mound. Rays have Danny Echeverria due up, and a call to the bullpen brought to you by the Florida Lottery. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Watch the Rays Kids TV show, Rays Rookies. It'll be on tomorrow at noon. For more info, go to RaysBaseball.com/Rays Rookies. Check your listings for more episodes on Fox Sports Sun. Danny Echeverria hitting here against Darren O'Day. First pitch, he did not offer a check in time. As Bruce Dreckman.
Bounce back season for Darren O'Day. Finally healthy this season. Appeared in 63 games, 59 2/3 innings, 75 punch-outs.
Yeah, base hit up the middle. Third hit of the night for Danny Echeverria. He's having a very good night. 3 for 4. Been stellar in the field as usual, and a run scored when he singled into fourth. His third hit of the game here in the 8th.
Seen him make a little bit of a turn with the Rays, swinging the bat with more power, more extra base hits.
Brad Miller, who homered back in the 4th inning. It's a high chop through the right side. He's aboard. Echeverria turns second but stops. Miller has his second hit.
Pop that ball right down into the ground hard enough. You get that first initial chop. And this one was big. You know, Chris Davis pulled in just a little bit. That ball middle down. And he gets a great hop. That ball's going to work its way into right field. We'll look to get those 2 runs back.
A couple hits here by Echeverria and Miller. We'll give Daniel Robertson a shot. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Pitch is down 1-0. A 2-ball, no strike count. Two and one. Robertson waiting on the right-hander O'Day. Strike at the knees. 2-2.
Boy, keeping everything down here. That's a Darren O'Day. He's another guy with that sweeping under arm angle, fastball, a slider, but we will see him elevate too. And he can do that with great efficiency. Get you looking down. That's where he wants to get those eyes, and then all of a sudden shoot one of those fastballs up at the top of the zone. There it is.
And there it is, high. Well, this is another look for Robertson against O'Day. He pitched 2 innings in that Sunday game against the Rays in Baltimore. Robertson grounded out against him. Now he's 3-2 with him with men at first and third. Runners go. The pitch, a swing and a miss. Throw down. In and out of the mid of Machado, and the Rays advance the runners. On the strikeout, with the runners going, Echeverria will get a steal, and Miller follows suit into second base.
Being aggressive, a nice jump there by Echeverria, and he's running on the breaking ball, and so he's able to get in safely, and initially got that little bit of a hop step getting down there. And well, the Rays still playing aggressively here late in this ball game. Had that lead cut in half. They'd like to get some back.
Alex Smith with a chance. Pitch is a strike. Rays with 4 steals, 3 in the last 2 innings. Kiermaier stole second in the 7th, and now Echeverria and Miller pull the double steal. Third and second in the 8th inning. Earlier, Kiermaier had swiped third in the 3rd inning. Smith pops it up. That's Davis at first, making the catch to retire the side. Rays leave 2, do not score. They lead by 2, and on comes Alex Colomé. Four to 2, Rays lead as we go to the 9th inning. Trying to take the second game of this series from Baltimore. Brad Miller's 3-run home run opened the scoring back in the 4th inning. Wilson Ramos had another run. Kiermaier scored from third on a fly ball, and now it's Alex Colomé. Peter Borges also in the game now in left. J.J. Hardy leads off the 9th, and the first pitch is a strike.
Well, Alex Colomé has already clinched the saves lead in Major League Baseball. Looking for number 47 here tonight. You can see pretty hefty lead over there, Greg Holland.
Pitch disappeared on Hardy, 0-2.
Way to watch his emergence over the last 2 seasons as a closer. And really, you couldn't have a guy out there with better demeanor, the way that he handles success and failure.
And there's a base hit headed toward the gap. Kiermaier is going to have to chase it to the deep part. Hardy's going to go to second with a double. An 0-2 pitch, and Hardy rips the double, as he did back in the 2nd inning, into left center field toward that deep part of the ballpark.
That little cutter slider hybrid, and that ball stayed pretty true. And you know, J.J. Hardy's got one of those swings that it's flat, he keeps it in the zone for a long time. A great shot of it right there, and he just peppers that ball out there, hits it hard enough to get it out to the wall, deep left center field.
So Hardy's aboard. Chance Cisco up here. Cisco a couple of strikeouts and in between a walk. And a base hit into left. Borges up with it. Advancing to third is Hardy. So a double and a single, and 2 men are on for Baltimore in the 9th. Reminder coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by W.B. Mason. Chan Orestes breaking down Brad Miller's evening. We'll hear from Kevin Cash and Alex Cordray providing interviews from the clubhouse. Pinch runner now at first. Greg Gentry will run. Gentry is the runner, and Seth Smith will pinch hit for Hayes. Smith takes the pitch down. 1-0. a little foul ball. First pitch was called a strike, and so it's an 0-2 count now. Doubled, went to third on the Cisco base hit. Gentry's running at first. Smith, the hitter, with a 2-strike count. Swing and a foul ball, just contact to stay alive.
Yeah, a close pitch, and Seth Smith, that's exactly what he's doing with 2 strikes, just trying to make sure that he's able to cover everything, even if that means cutting down a little bit.
Santander is on deck. Anthony Santander.
All that open space on the left side.
Strike pitch again is low. Colomé in a spot right here.
This game pretty much in hand for the Rays. And all of a sudden 2 in the 8th. Orioles threaten here in the 9th, and you need your closer to come up with some big time pitches. More than capable of doing that.
And the pitch is wide. It's 2-2. Colomé's 46th save was that game's last Saturday in Baltimore when the Rays had that big lead and saw the Orioles come up with a flourish in the 9th inning, scoring 5 to make a 9-1 game, a 9-6 game. Swing and a miss. Smith is out on strikes. The Rays pick up their 9th strikeout of the night. That's a big one, the first out here in the 9th, and the kind of out they needed.
Yeah, the finish right there on that pitch at the very end, and Seth Smith did end up taking a big swing, thinking that he was going to get something out over the plate. Didn't happen. And that is a big one. Keeps that runner right there at third base. You've got the double play in order here, even though you've got all of your infielders outside of Robertson on the right side.
Anthony Santander, he had a base hit back in the 3rd. Is 1 for 3. Lifts a fly ball, center field. Kiermaier's there to catch it. The tag at 3rd. Hardy's going to score. Throws into 2nd. It's now a 4-3 game with 2 outs as Santander picks up a run batted in and makes it a 1-run game. So 2 gone with a man at first. Jonathan Scope will be the hit. Scope singled and scored in the 8th. Rays overload the left side of the infield. And a liner into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. Rays win it. Kiermaier coming straight in, makes the grab. And the Rays close this one out. It's a 4-3 final. Chris Archer's got to get his 10th win. He is 10-12. Save number 47 for Colomé, and here is the final out. Kiermaier racing straight in to make the grab on the liner off the bat of Jonathan Scope. Castro will be the losing pitcher. Archer 10-12. Castro 3-3. A save for Colomé before 15,416. Now the Rays have taken the first 2 games of the series. Coming up next, Rays Live, the postgame presented by W.B. Mason. For Brian Anderson and Alex Cordray, Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast. Rays winners tonight.